Weekend Warrior here. I've got a challenge that I'm going to try to take part in. So Hot Wheels Hunter Akron issued a challenge, and his challenge was to take the Lolux, which is this vehicle here, and combine it with another car to make a new car. So I was going through my cars with my wife, and she was helping me out, pick out some ideas, and she suggested to mate it with this thing. And this could be pretty wild. So, probably turn it into some sort of SUV if I can cut this thing pretty straight. We'll see how that goes. But I've got an idea. I've got to get these things drilled apart. So, I'm going to take them apart. I'll be right back. Okay, using a jeweler's saw, I got both my pieces cut off. You can see. So, I've got the rear portion there. So I use one of these jeweler's saws. I don't know if you've seen these, but they're relatively inexpensive, maybe 15 bucks or something. They come with a bunch of blades, which you will go through quite a few. I probably broke maybe 6 blades on this. I don't know. I mean, it was plenty, that's for sure. So I ended up using that, and I cut through both the vehicles. I taped it off to try to get a straight edge, and it's not quite perfect, but it's not bad either. I think I'm going to hit it with a grinding wheel on my little Dremel tool and see if I can flush it out a little bit. But I also have the front, so if I want to take the front and try to mesh it with the rear here, I mean, that might be a cool idea as well. So I've got that, and you can see this is the piece that I cut off of the other one. I don't know if it's going to work on this very well, just because the length difference, but maybe we'll get something to work here. So let me grind this down, try to level these two. You can see there's a bit of a curvature there. If you look at the other side, it's a little better. I got a little point there, but you can see where I got to go back to, I think. So it looks like there's quite a bit over on this side I'm going to grind off. So I'll be back momentarily. And I'm just going to use, it's like a Dremel. It's a cheap tool from Harbor Freight, and it's got a little sanding wheel on it. So I'm just going to sand it for a little bit. It takes a little while, so it's not going to be quick. And then I'll be back. And it's much better now. And I will be using like some putty and stuff to get this together. And you can see it's going to have a little bit of a flare out the sides, which is cool. I'll probably putty it from the inside once I figure out the interior. And we'll get some cool stuff going here. Actually, what I'm going to do is throw these in the stripper. And then it'll probably be a couple days before I get them out and all the paint's removed. And then once that's done, then I can weld them together with some putty, clean up the gaps, and then I can paint it and try to do some assembly. Alright, you'll see it then. Bye. I'm going to go ahead and get these two pieces connected. So what I'm going to use, I have this putty. You may have seen me use it in previous videos. And it's this, basically it's this putty, this cheap putty from Harbor Freight. And this stuff, that part's really hard and trash, but this stuff works pretty well. If I tear off a little bit, and you just kind of mix it up. And this putty, it's like a plumbing putty, and like I said, it works very well. So what I want to do is maybe lay this piece upside down, try to center it as best I can, and get this welded together. We'll see if I have any luck here. So I think it'll stay. I'm probably using too big of a piece. So let's see if I can get this on here in a way where it'll hold. Maybe I can add glue to it after the fact and keep it together as well. But I think once this putty sticks, I think it'll hold it together very well. Once that's attached, what I can do, like I said, I can add a small bit around it, just a small bead. If I roll this up into a nice, snake-like thing, right, or like a worm or whatever, and I wrap this around here, I can hopefully get this together and then sand it with, we'll see how that works out for me, right? I don't know if you guys ever try to sand stuff when you got grooves like this and, all the little intricacies of the casting. But hopefully this will work, and I'll get something really cool. You can see it's already turned out kind of neat. And this car, I think what I'll do is somehow mount this here I'll just put it right there, and hopefully that'll stay. Alright, we'll let that dry. I'll be back, and then hopefully we can sand and paint. Okay, I've got everything connected here. So I let it dry overnight. I don't know how long I need to let this dry. It feels pretty solid. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to get my little Dremel tool. I'm going to try to smooth this out and make it look as good as can be. And hopefully I can sand this down and make it look nice. Alright, I'll be back. Okay, so I ground it down with my little Dremel tool. It's probably not as smooth as I'd like, but I spent some time on it. It's actually pretty nice to touch, but you can see a lot of imperfections. So I'm hoping the primer that I add will clean that up. We'll see, and you can see underneath, but I'm not too worried about that. And then we'll get this primered and painted. I'll try to assemble it hopefully tomorrow. That's my goal. Okay, I got my parts back from painting, getting them together. So now what I want to do is try to assemble these two cars. I'm going to have to definitely cut some bases up and get these things going and get the interior painted. So hopefully I'll have these done, both done in a short period of time, and you guys can see what's going on. Alright, so I decided to make a twofer here. I painted them purple. It's all rattle can. You can see there's a little bit of mess up here at the bottom. I don't know if it's because of the clay I used or what, but yeah, you can see this side's got a little difficult to tell. This piece barely came out with anything wrong. So hopefully I can get these together. I know I'm going to have to cut these bases up, cut them in half and shorten them, maybe combine one half of one to the half of the other. So we'll figure that out and we'll get these together. Stick around. Alright, here's my two creations. This one I was able to screw together. I added a little bit of putty in the center where there was a crack from the two different bases. You can see that one turned out pretty cool. So the front half is the Lolux and the other half was that SUV, whatever it was. So I used the back plastic piece and the whatever goes through the rear window there. And the windshield and interior from the Lolux. And on this one I used the SUV front and then Lolux rear. So I cut off this piece because I didn't have it quite right on how I had it welded apart together earlier. And it wasn't long enough to go through. So what I did was fasten it with a screw to the piece. I cut this off with a jeweler saw. I'm going to go ahead and paint that up. And then I ended up using the trick with super glue and baking soda so it'll weld together. And I did some on the sides as well as the bottom. It actually holds together pretty good. It rolls pretty well. This one doesn't roll as good, but it's alright. It probably looks better anyways. But anyways, I'm going to add some details to the headlights and taillights and that sort of thing, and we'll get these looking kind of cool. We'll see how they work out. There we go. Alright. And I'll get these clear coated. I'll bring them back and get you some nice glamour shots. I hope you guys enjoyed these builds. They were actually kind of cool to do. They were fun, challenging, and they allowed me to do something different and learn new skills. Alright, thanks for watching.